Today I would discuss about two persons, two devotees who were couple whose name perhaps are familiar to many but not to all, but the name of their son is well known to all. Their son's name is Subhash Chandra Bosu, who is famous as Netaji, and his parents Sri Janakinath Bose and Prabhavati Devi are the devotee couple of Lord Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. Today I would like to discuss about them.
Om Namo Anukulchandraya. Om Namo Anukulchandraya.
Joy Guru. I think everybody is well familiar with the name of Subhash Chandra Bosu, who is famous as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bosu. But I think not all people are aware or all people are too familiar with his father and mother. His father was Janakinath Bose and his mother was Prabhavati Devi. And as a matter of fact, Janakinath Bose and Prabhavati Bose, they are famous of their son. But from the standpoint of spiritualism, if I say that Netaji is fortunate of having such father and mother, if I say so, I don't think it would be any exaggeration, because good offspring can be obtained only from good parents, otherwise not. There is no way out. Now today I would like to discuss about his father and mother, that is Janakinath Bose and Prabhavati Devi. They were ardent disciples of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. Now the relative role of Prabhavati Devi is more than his husband in taking initiation from Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. Now, how these happenings occurred, I would like to tell you about this. The first visit was with Prabhavati Devi. As a matter of fact, at that visit, Janakinath Bose was not present. First visit was a combination of reality, emotion, I should say supernatural phenomenon, and absolute coordination of everything. As a matter of fact, in 1918, you see, Vishwaguru Utsav was held, where Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, you see, his name was famous after Vishwaguru Utsav. And in 1919, on August you see, for Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra stayed at Kolkata at number 7 Ishwar By Mill Lane. Remember this, the name of the street. And in this house, he stayed along with his mother, Mother Manmohini Devi, Satish Jwardar, Sushil Chandra Bose, and other devotees. Now, what happens actually, on 2nd September 1919, Prabhavati Devi, you see, the mother of Subhash Chandra Bose, came to Thakur for the first time. She came with her brother J.N. Datta, who was barrister, and wife of J.N. Datta, who is more popular as Datta Ma to us. Us means to disciples like us, because Datta Ma had many contribution for the ashram of Himayatpur. I will come later on. And along with them, Chandrasekhar Sen, who was also a barrister, he was also present, and his son Shakya Singh Sen, who was a pleader and a very realistic person, rationalist also, he was also present. And along with them, daughter of J.N. Datta and Datta Ma, namely Lady Mitra. She was known as Lady Mitra. She was the wife of barrister B.C. Mitra. So, all these persons were there, and they came to Thakur. Just seeing Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, Datta Ma suddenly, you see, prayed to Thakur. First of all, bowed herself before him, and prayed like this: Namah Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namo. Like this. Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra humbly asked Datta Ma, why are you talking like this? I am an ordinary person. So, you should not say like this. Then Datta Ma replied a very peculiar reply. She stated, well, in dream you wanted to eat from me, and while I was serving, you said to me that I am your God whom you are searching for. And then Datta Ma said, then I bowed down before you, but you told me not to bow down, not to pranam to you, because you have called me as son, that is Vatsalya Bhav. You see, one may attach with the God in very many forms. Vatsalya Bhav is also one of them. Vatsalya Bhav means son and mother, like Jashoda Ma, Mother Jashoda with Krishna. Krishna is the Lord, and Jashoda Ma was the mother, and so at least Jashoda Ma treated Krishna as her son. Similarly, Datta Ma treated Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra as her son. And then suddenly Datta Ma, you see, chanted like this: Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakhamam Krishna Kesava, Krishna Kesava, Krishna Kesava Pahimam. All of a sudden, everybody was surprised to see that Thakur, you see, Thakur was speechless and motionless, absolutely motionless. Even his eyelashes, you see, were as if non-motile. This is very peculiar. Everybody noticed this. And then Dattama suddenly exclaimed like this, see, my motile Thakur suddenly, you see, becomes non-motile, motionless. And another incident, another two incidents simultaneously happened. Lady Mitru, that is the daughter of Barrister J.N. Dattu and Dattama, who was sitting on the floor, suddenly, you see, fallen apart. And after some time, actually her body was quivered, and after some time she got up and said, see, I got holy name. And this was proved true. And Sakko Singha Sen, who was the son of Chandrasekhar Sen, barrister, as I have told you already, he was a very realistic person and a very rationalist person too, but he was so moved to see all these happenings that he suddenly, you see, began to dance around Thakur. So all these happenings, all these incidents actually were happened before Prabhavati Devi, that is before the mother of Subhash Chandra Bose. And definitely she was moved, you see, by all these incidents which occurred simultaneously. And after a fortnight, to be specific, on 17th September, all of them, as I have told you, again came to Sree Sree Thakur, again on that building, and they came after taking their lunches, and then they came to Thakur. But Dattama, you see, didn't do her lunch. Dattama suddenly prayed to Thakur, "Oh Thakur, while I was about to take my meal, you suddenly came to me and chanted a Sanskrit slok, chanted a Sanskrit slok. And I told that slok to my husband, and my husband, you see, had noted down your slok. Will you please tell us that slok to all of us so that we can hear it again?" Thakur tried to avoid all these requests. As a matter of fact, this is one of the humble, you can say, humble characteristic of Avatar Purusha, that is incarnation of God, not to reveal them in front of all. In other words, they themselves do not claim that they are the incarnations of God. So therefore, yes, you see, Thakur tried to avoid these things. But Dattama was adamant. She repeatedly, you see, told Thakur to chant that sloka. Finding no other alternatives, I should say, Thakur, as if he was singing like that, and he was singing this sloka, that is, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekang saranang brajo aham tvang sarvapapebho makshasi samima sucho. Then and there Dattama suddenly, you see, loudly stated, "Oh, this is the sloka. This is the slok. This is the slok that you have chanted before me. And all of them, you see, were simply bewildered, were simply, you see, they got actually, they were surprised by this incident. And after that, Prabhavati Devi, of course, Dattama and Jayan Datta, they took initiation earlier, and after that, Prabhavati Devi, along with her husband Janakinath Bose, they took initiation from the disciple of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, and they became ardent disciple of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. And their devotion, I should say, is very unparalleled, to say the least, because they almost worshipped Thakur. They, you see, abided all the instructions of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. Now, before going into the other parts, I should give the introduction of Janakinath Bose and Prabhavati Bose. Prabhavati Devi was the eldest daughter of Ganganarayan Singho, and there were 6 sisters and 9 brothers. And her grandfather's name was Kashinath Dattu. I am sorry. Her father's name was Ganganarayan Dattu, and her grandfather's name was Kashinath Dattu. And their ancestral house was in Hatkhola, that is near Borobazar of North Calcutta. They were very reputed family, and you see, very cultured too. They were very famous family. They were, as I have told you, they were very famous family. They were, you see, rich family also, both financially as well as socially, in all respects. And Ganganarayan Datta was a high official of British Company, of the then British Company, and he, you see, built up a multi-story building near, you see, Sithimore, that is near Boranagar of Calcutta. Now, Prabhavati Devi, you see, as she was the eldest sister, and her brother was Jayan Datta, barrister. He was also very famous in those days. Now, coming to the Janakinath Datta, their ancestral person was Dasarath Bose, and 5th generation, the name of the 5th generation was Muktiram Bose, and his son was, you see, his son was actually Mohipati Bose. He was the I should 6th generation Mohipati Bose, but he was more famous as Subudhi Bose Khan, because he was the minister in charge of finance and defense. So, of the Nawab of Gaur, and Nawab of Gaur, you see, had given his name as Subudhi Bose Khan, and he was famous for that. And his son, you see, was Ishan Chandra Bose. He was also the minister of those finance and defense portfolio. And son of Ishan Chandra Bose was Gopinath Bose. He was also in the same ministry. He came to South Chobbish Pargana, a place named, it is named Kodalia, and it has a history behind. You see, this Gopinath Bose was famous as Purandar Bose Khan, because this name was given by Sultan Shah Hussain. Sultan Hossein Shah. Sultan Hossein Shah, you see, had given this name Purandar Bose Khan. And Purandar Bose Khan came to, you see, Kodalia, a village of north 24 Parganas of Kolkata, near Kolkata I should say. Actually the name Kodalia has a history. Virtually this Purandar Bose Khan wanted to dig a big pond, which is known as Dighi in Bengali, and that Dighi or big pond you see was dug by spades, and when all the spades were you see arranged in a row, possibly from this scene I should say the name of the spade is Kodal, and from this term Kodal the term Kodalia came. So therefore, in Kodalia their ancestral house is still there, though worn out, but still there. But then their son, that is Haranath Bose, when Haranath Bose you see came into existence I should say, he was very poor. He was very poor. Suddenly their, you see, social, I should say economic position got down and they were very poor. Naturally, Janakinath Bose was his son. Janakinath Bose was naturally very poor, but being very intelligent, he did his schooling at Hare School of Kolkata, and then he graduated from Vidyasagar College, Kolkata. Then he passed law examination also, and afterwards, since he was a very poor person, he was compelled to take the assignment of head teacher of a school at Joynagar. And at that time, Ganganarayan Datta, who was the father of Prabhavati Datta, you see, happened to meet with Janakinath Bose. You see, since both of them, you see, are Kayasthas, I should say, they are Kshatriya Varnas. By Varna, they are Kshatriyas. But remember, Janakinath Bose was Kulin Kshatriya, Kulin Kayastha, while Prabhavati Datta was Maulik Kayastha, that is somewhat in lower level, lower layer of Kayastha in comparison to Janakinath Bose. This was also one of the reason why Ganganarayan Datta, you see, wanted Janakinath Datta as his, you see, bride, as his daughter's bridegroom. You see, Ganganarayan Datta, since he was very brilliant and he was a high official of the then British official, as I have already mentioned, actually Ganganarayan Datta questioned Janakinath Bose on very many aspects, and he was fully satisfied with the answers of Janakinath Datta. And considering the Varnas, considering the heredity, considering the lineage, considering the longevity of the Janakinath Bose, considering the traditions and their you see lineage, and also the age, considering the age, Ganganarayan Datta was determined, you see, that he would, you see, he would definitely choose Ganganarayan Datta as her daughter's bridegroom. You see, virtually this was a complete compatible marriage according to Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. As a matter of fact, Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra wanted that compatible marriage should be accomplished, otherwise no good offsprings can be produced, and unless and until good offsprings are produced, you see, a country cannot be prospered. This was his statement, and by compatible marriage he stated like this, that you see, while you see, it's a kind of marriage reforms. He wanted marriage reforms. He wanted that compatible marriage should be organized, by compatible marriage, he stated like this, that one must consider the Varno, that is, by Varno I should say Vipro, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. These are 4 Varnas in our traditional Varnashram system. And this was also, you see, the statement of Sri Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna also in Gita stated like this, that Chaturvarnam Maya system Guna Karma Vibhagosaho. That means that I have created 4 Varnas according to the attributes and the works that they are destined to do. So, therefore, the system of Varna is not man-made, it is natural, and Lord Sri Krishna himself has admitted that he has created this Varna system. So, therefore, and Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra has given, you see, emphasis on Varna. First of all, Varna should be the first attribute, should be the first consideration in marriage reforms. In his opinion, bridegroom should be always a higher Varna. A bridegroom should belong to higher Varna in comparison with bride, or at least same, must not be lower. That is very much incompatible marriage, and the offspring that will be produced by this incompatible marriage would be disastrous. Virtually, they are the worst enemy of any country. So, Gangadharan Datta, somehow or another, he, I should say, followed the, you see, the rules of compatible marriage, and accordingly, as Janakinath Bose was somewhat higher than Prabhavati Devi in considering the Varna and also the heredity, lineage, age, etc. As a matter of fact, age difference was also very high. At the age of 11th, Prabhavati Devi got married, and the difference between husband and wife was almost 12 years. You see, so therefore, in all respects, as a matter of fact, Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra actually wanted this difference of ages. And so, in all respects, this was a complete compatible marriage, and the result is very evident, because Subhash Chandra Bose, you see, a good offspring, you see, was produced from this good couple. So, therefore, I would like to say that we all respect Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, but we should also respect, you see, his father and mother, because unless, you see, such good parents, good offsprings cannot be produced. Now, coming to the, so after their marriage, you see, Janakinath Bose went to, you see, Orissa, because Horaballabh Bose was a person who was a kind of relative to Janakinath Bose, and he was the government pleader of Orissa government. And Janakinath Bose, you see, went to Orissa, and he engaged in the profession of law. And ultimately, however, Janakinath Bose also, you see, was the government pleader of Orissa government once. And by then, they were, you see, very rich people also, and Janakinath Bose, you see, built a multi-storied building in Puri, whose name was Haranath Lodge, that is, in the memory of his father Haranath. And you see, in 1922, Prabhavati Devi and Janakinath Bose, both of them came to Himayatpur, that is now in Bangladesh, which is the birthplace of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, and you see, near Pabna district in Himayatpur, that was his original ashram. In 1946, he came to Devghar, but up to 50 years of his life, the Sree Sree Thakur, you see, was in Himayatpur, Pabna Himayatpur. And in 1922, Prabhavati Devi and Janakinath Bose, that is husband and wife, they went to ashram. and Prabhavati Devi actually requested Mother Manmohani Devi that Thakur should go to Puri and stay there. Mata Manmohani Devi, you see, told this request of Prabhavati Devi to Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. Then Thakur replied, just see that wherever I should go, you see, most of my disciples would go there. So managing all these people would be difficult. So it would be better not to go there. But then you see, Prabhavati Devi and Janakinath Bose, both of them with folded hands requested Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra that see, this is a golden opportunity. You see, we have earned some money and it is the best avenue that we can spend money. We will serve your disciple. It is, I should say, we think it is as our pure luck that we can serve you. So please go to Puri. We will serve you to the best of our abilities. And really it was. And because of their request, ardent, you see, because of their earnest request, I should say, Thakur agreed, consented to go to Puri. And he was there in Horanath Lodge almost for 2 months with all disciples. As a matter of fact, on 31st December 1922, Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra went to Puri and stayed there at Horanath Lodge. And he stayed there for almost 2 months. And this Prabhavati Devi and Janakinath Bose, this disciple couple, you see, served all of them with all their devotion, with all their, you see, abilities, I should say. And they, you see, each and every day they came to Puri, Horanath Lodge, and you see, they wanted to know the difficulties, inconvenience that any disciple might face. And they were very, you see, they were very delighted virtually. They were very happy that they could serve Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra and their disciples. And not only this, Prabhavati Devi was so devoted, also Janakinath Bose, that you see, in Himayatpur Ashram, you see, very many big buildings were, you see, built by the inspiration of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. And as a matter of fact, you see, the ashramics, I should say, the disciple, all of the disciples and their wives, I should say, and children, all of them, you see, participated in the construction of the building. And Prabhavati Devi was so devoted that she also, you see, carried the bricks for the, you see, building, for the construction of the building purpose. And Janakinath Bose also generously, you see, contributed funds for the construction of the building also. So both of them were really devoted disciples. So you see, not only this, there is another glaring, I should say, you see, an unique example I would like to state before you about the, you see, depth of devotion of Prabhavati Devi. You see, once, you see, Haridas Mitra, who is the father of present Finance Minister of West Bengal, Amit Mitra. The present Finance Minister of West Bengal, India, is Amit Mitra. His father's name was Haridas Mitra. And actually, you see, Haridas Mitra was a relative of Prabhavati Devi, because Prabhavati Devi's son, one son, that is brother of Subhash Chandra Bose, was Suresh Chandra Bose. And his daughter, Haridas Mitra, married actually his daughter. So therefore, you see, Haridas Mitra once wanted to you see, take a photo of Prabhavati Devi by his camera. And Haridas Mitra requested Prabhavati Devi that, you see, I would like to take your photo. Then Prabhavati Devi suddenly exclaimed and said, see, you can't take my photo without the photo of my Guru. Only you can take my photo only when I will take my photo, I would take the photo of my Guru at first, and then you would take the photo. And as a matter of fact, Prabhavati Devi actually took the photo of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra by both of her hands, and you see, she lifted the photo above her head, and then she permitted Haridas Mitra to take the photo. Just this is an incident to illustrate the depth of devotion of Prabhavati Devi to his mentor, to his Sadguru, that is Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. This is one of the example, one of the, I should say, great example. Not only this, whenever Sushil Chandra Bosu, one of the disciple of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, whenever he came to Calcutta, Prabhavati Devi was all eager to know about Sree Sree Thakur's condition, and he always she invited Sushil Chandra Bose to know the whereabouts of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. And once Sushilda has stated in his book Manas Tirtha Parikrama, that is, once Sushil Chandra Bose asked Prabhavati Devi, well, mother, would you tell me what should be the perfect relationship between husband and wife? Prabhavati Devi answered, see, I do not know so much, but I do not really understand how difference of opinion, you see, occurs between husband and wife. At least in my life, I do not know whether difference of opinion can be one of the factor between husband and wife. As a matter of fact, I always maintain, you see, I have maintained an honorable distance with my husband. Similarly, you see, we have mutual respect with each other, you see, and this should be the relationship of husband and wife. Another thing, Prabhavati Devi, I should say last but not the least, Prabhavati Devi took initiation from Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, definitely not by emotion only. Prabhavati Devi was not a lady to be swayed by only emotion. She was a very realistic person, she was very witty person also. Because I would give you one example. When Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was in his Elgin Road residence, then all of us know that the then British government actually guarded the whole house of the Elgin Road residence of Subhash Chandra Bose by police as well as different spies. But still, somehow or another, Subhash Chandra Bose disappeared from his house. All of us know it. Now, but one of the CID official, high CID officials, he actually asked Prabhavati Devi, actually requested Prabhavati Devi, see mother, we all know that your son Subhash Chandra Bose has great affection, you see, towards you, and we also know that he always takes your advice before, you see, starting an assignment. So therefore, since he has disappeared from this house, he must have told where he has gone, at least to you. Will you be kind enough to inform us where he has gone? Prabhavati Devi just replied, before answering your question, will you please answer me one question? That is, you have guarded my house in such a way that not even a crow, can get out from this house. So therefore, where my son has gone, I think you have kept my son somewhere else. Would you be kind enough to tell me where you have kept my son? This was the reply from this lady. This is, I should say, you see, I have quoted this incident because of the fact that Prabhavati Devi was not an emotional lady, that simply swayed by emotion, she took initiation from Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. Not at all. She actually, I should say, she had given thoughts on every aspects of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra, and she didn't find any flaws of Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra. That was precisely the reason why she and her husband Janakinath Bose, both of them actually took initiation from Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra and served him so much. And though it is not directly related with this topic, but I must mention another topic that may interest you. That is, you see, Swami Vivekananda's forefather and Netaji Subhash Chandra forefathers ultimately, you see, were the same person. This is also one of the, I should say, interesting point. Not only this, Vivekananda's father and mother, Father Vishwanath Bose and Mother Bhuvaneshwari Devi, both of them were very virtuous persons, like this Janakinath Bose and Prabhavati Devi. So, and not only this, I should say, it was Prabhavati Devi who advised Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose to visit Sree Sree Thakur Anukulchandra and, you see, to take his advice in every assignment that he should take. Just this is also another example to state that how, you see, deeply devoted, you see, this disciple couple were. So, people in general, I should say, do not know this phenomenon, and that is one of the reason why I have, you see, I have selected this topic, and I would like to say that such offspring like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose can be obtained only from such compatible marriage. So, therefore, if I may say that Netaji should feel himself, you see, proud that he is the son of such, you see, devoted, dedicated, you see, father and mother. Live in love. Joy Guru.